Okay, welcome, as I said, to today's webinar. Quite a bit of very interesting stuff to go through, test results and the insights and kind of conclusions that we can draw from that. But just a couple of quick housekeeping things before we get underway. For quite a while I've been talking about offering a free business plan package. That's the 5 sites per month, $25 a month. Hosting on Traffic Planet hosting, and that is kind of set up now. We had been trying to automate it with an API, but it was just proving too tricky to get the different software platforms to talk to each other, so we're going with a different option. So basically the deal is, while you're a current SEO Traffic Hacks member, you have free hosting. Should you leave the training, then you would need to start paying for that hosting or move your site elsewhere, but it's very, very high quality hosting, very fast. In fact, I'm sure some of you on the call today are already using Traffic Planet hosting and finding it a really good service. At least I certainly hope so. So what you need to do is just email georgea@terrykyle.net and just let George know that you'd like to take up that training offer, that you want the business plan hosting on Traffic Planet hosting. You can also just go there, click on Live Help, and just use the, let me just deal with that Windows thing. Okay, so that's thrown out my GoToWebinar. Of course, thank you, Microsoft. So yeah, you can either email George or at georgea@terrykyle.net, or just go and click on Live Help, Live Chat, and if we're not manning the live chat area, excuse me, at the time, then that automatically just comes to a ticket, and George will take care of it as soon as he sees your ticket. The other thing we had a bit of trouble with was the heat map tracker, and it turns out that the way the program was originally coded, which I bought I think a few weeks back, the problem was that it was just causing massive CPU usage, and it was kind of in the way it was coded. So at the moment we're hiring a guy to recode it in a way that doesn't melt the server on a relatively small number of users. So we hope to have that kind of offered again as a free service in the next couple of weeks. So thanks for your patience on the heat map tracking. Okay, one other quick mention here is I came across this over the weekend. Now normally I absolutely hate these kind of articles, and in content marketing for quite a long time it's all the top 5 ways to do this, top 7 of this, and it comes out of all that magazine copywriting, I guess. I did post this in the mindset thread on Inside SEO Traffic Hacks, but I'll put a link to this below. Excuse me, the video, and it's a very, very good article from the Market Health Affiliate Network blog, I think, and it just gives a few really good internet marketing success kind of insider attitude kind of shifts, and I highly recommend it, and I think I actually quoted somewhere later in this particular webinar, so definitely worth having a look at that particular one. Now, just so that you kind of get more out of your SEO Traffic Hacks training, I just want to talk a little bit about kind of my role and how they can help you more, just before we get going on the test stuff today. So the way I kind of see my role in SEO Traffic Hacks is not just obviously on the back of a lot of testing, talking about what to do, how you go about doing it, when to do it, and why you should doing that. Obviously those are all really, really important, but I hope the thing actually that I bring most to what you're doing in your online business is clarity. Being able to see things a lot more clearly, and I think clarity, when you can get that from an external source, can actually be really important. And if you think about even like the highest level of professionals do get coaching for clarity. Obviously, it's up to you if you want to act on that information or those options. And I certainly won't be offended if you don't. It's entirely your choice as to which parts you choose to act upon. But I think hopefully what I can bring, particularly through these webinars as well, is clarity, a greater clearer thinking about exactly what you're doing in your online business. So that's my mission today. So hopefully at the end you'll let me know at the questions time if I've achieved any excuse me, greater clarity for you. And here's what I kind of propose to you. This is kind of a theme through today's webinar. And it's not a new theme, it's one that I've kind of harped on about in the past, probably to the point of boring you. But it is worth going over again. The way I think about SEO is that SEO is kind of just a tool, it's just a means in our quest to accumulate one thing. And it's not directly money, although that's obviously the outcome we're all looking for, is to increase our income. But the thing that we really want to accumulate is actually converting templates or funnels, web pages that we are successfully monetizing in whatever niches we're operating in. So basically what we're really looking for, the gold dust, if you like, those gold nuggets, are the landing page recipes that really bring in the bucks, that we can add traffic and scale to, obviously through SEO or any other means. And if you've got a really good converting landing page, obviously then you've got the opportunity to throw some paid traffic at it as well. Actually, when we get to some SEM rush results shortly, I'll show you the staggering difference between organic SEO kind of costs and paid traffic. It's quite incredible. It's also good to really remember when we're kind of mucking around with these different landing page templates and trying to find that right recipe, that almost nothing works the first time. And most people who don't succeed online or even any kind of business just give up far too quickly and don't persevere and keep testing and trying different options. So this will be kind of a really important sub-theme going through today's webinar. And through SEO, what we're actually aiming to do is accumulate the landing page winners and then add some scale to that and getting rid of the losers, just like we do with zero content SEO. So we're kind of applying that filtering approach across our whole SEO strategy and practice. So recently I kind of came to this conclusion. I guess it's sort of been warming up over the last few weeks through a lot of zero content SEO testing, and I've realized kind of my SEO philosophy has probably undergone its most radical shift possibly ever. And I think one of the reasons for that is that before I opened SEO Traffic Hacks, I was doing quite a lot of testing, or so I thought. But actually now, in a good way, there's more emphasis on me to test more things, to test more variations, and basically doing a lot more testing. And with that, I get to see a lot more results, and we get to share in the result of that testing as well, of course. So here's where the big kind of radical shift comes. And I just see this now over and over in lots of zero content SEO testing, that in SEO normally we focus on the links, quality of course, and we talk about PBNs and all that. But in typical conventional SEO, we also talk a ton about on-page optimization, and I'm certainly guilty of that as well. And it may actually be that on-page optimization could well be a different way to achieve similar results to what we're getting with zero content SEO. It could be that it actually works. But the point is, if you don't need it, why would you add that extra layer of work unless there was some obvious tangible benefit? And at the moment, I'm not necessarily seeing that, but that could be subject to future algorithmic updates, of course. So what I'm kind of seeing in my own SEO practice now is that it's actually not about optimizing the target money site at all. So in a way, it kind of doesn't matter what's on the end of your links, whether it's a BuzzFeed page, Rebel Mouse page, an empty website, an aged PR, repurposed domain, etc. In a way, it kind of doesn't matter what's on the other end of it. You're always going to run into that random rankings factor, and knowing that is really important, but knowing the kind of links that can deliver fast, high results is obviously crucial as well. So what I'm proposing here is that actually it's the links that you throw at that are almost everything now in SEO. And in a way, this is probably Google's biggest dirty SEO secret still in 2014, that links are still pretty much literally everything for ranking. And if you combine that knowledge with Google's random rankings factor as well, knowing those two facts alone just automatically just jumps you light years ahead of what so many people in the SEO community are writing about, experiencing, thinking about. And hopefully just having those knowledge of those two things really gives you a lot of clarity. And typically if you go to any SEO forum, including Traffic Planet or Warrior Forum, Digital Point or whatever, you will see kind of so many of those guys writing about how their site can't rank, it isn't ranking, they've done all this stuff to it, why isn't it ranking? And typically the advice is all about you need more quality links, or you need more quality content, or you need to have silo structure or whatever. But in SEO Traffic Hacks, we know that you actually probably don't need any of those things. It's really probably just Google's random ranking factor working against that particular site. And even just having the knowledge of that working against you gives us a great opportunity to kind of counter it in our whole strategy. From what I see around kind of SEO journals and really, supposedly the big heavyweight authorities don't talk about this factor that you just are always going to get inconsistent results, and you need to accommodate that and in a way, as we've talked about, use that against Google by having more and more vehicles that you try to rank. So links, almost everything, but awareness of that random ranking factor gives you a lot of really powerful knowledge. The funny thing is that in the short to medium term, and that can vary by a pretty wide definition, it's obvious to me that Google just cannot stop being gamed by PR blog network links. And I'm going to talk about de-indexing and stuff in a minute. The only way they can really do it, from what I see, is kind of through manual reviews, and they can obviously afford to employ a lot of people doing that, but I don't necessarily see a huge amount of evidence of manual intervention on the SERPs, except maybe on particular keywords like SEO and possibly things like payday loans and stuff like that. So in a way, part of this big kind of dirty SEO secret for Google is A, that the links are kind of almost everything for ranking, and B, that it just can't help being manipulated by PR blog network links. And I think that's partly why Google, which normally has a kind of company policy of not naming a site when it's selected for Black Hat SEO or whatever, they just kind of do it, and then the company reports it or whatever. Google doesn't make a big deal about it. But interestingly, when they do take down a link network, they do name it and they do make a big deal about it. And that, to me, partly suggests that they're really trying to crank up the fear of using it, because it does actually work so well in that short to medium term. And even in a moment, you'll see how I think the fact that it may only work for a short to medium term can actually be incredibly beneficial to our business in a funny way. So I'll get to that in a minute. But if you take on board those, it hugely kind of decomplicates and simplifies what we're doing in SEO and really can make us much, much more efficient. So, for example, as we know in SEO Traffic Hacks, we can have a brand new empty site linked to by 50 or 100 PR blog sites, and even if the links roll off to a PR0 in a page, even allowing for that random rankings factor, some or quite a few, or often sometimes all of the 5-pack or 10-pack sites that are tried, maybe almost all of them will actually rank through those particular types of links. Now, all of the test results that I'll show today and all the ones that I think I've shown so far inside the training aren't even that high PR-wise. So PR2, a lot of PR3s in there, up to PR4 maximum, nothing higher than PR4 for all of these links. So again, that makes it more cost efficient, and if you missed my previous webinars, one of the things driving my own SEO is always trying to do it cheaper, more efficiently, and minimize and seeing how few links I need and how little I need to spend to rank high. And few things can even come close to what I'm seeing at the moment with zero content SEO. So the consistency of rankings that you can get with this, it's really exciting. And the thing is that if and when a particular kind of sub-algorithm or whatever can find a block network and de-index it, and it can take quite a long time, maybe you'll get unlucky and it happens quickly. If or when that actually happens, by that time what you've done is, if I think you're doing it right, by that time you've actually accumulated a lot of landing page winners for reapplication. And what I mean by that reapplication is you've found that landing page recipe that works and converts and is going to bring you money, and all you've got to do is just plug in the Google organic traffic again. And a couple of the example sites I'll show shortly today are classic examples of slapped sites that lost all their rankings and all the content was just completely moved to a new site, one of which, one of the examples I'm using today was zero content SEO. All the content just got picked up and moved from the slapped site over to the winning zero content SEO site, and the old site was parked, and the traffic and money just immediately started to continue to flow to that new site because it had it. So what we're really looking for while we have these ranking windows, and it could actually go on for a very long time, subject to some kind of outrageously punitive sort of algorithmic update. If such things exist, it could just be turning up that random ranking factor a lot more. What we have are these kind of windows of time where we can test a whole bunch of landing pages and just find those ones that are winners for reapplication on other sites should the rankings be lost. So what I'm saying to summarize here is for SEO we actually need to be looking at the links and not the money side in terms of rankings performance, and that's shown by all these empty site rankings still holding up. I mean, if they're going to rank, they're still holding up. If they're not going to rank, they just don't. They just kind of sit there and do nothing. And I think in the case of all the examples here today, these have all have been hit with one 50-post private block network run that was left, and I'll also put the dates on the test results as well. So as I say, this improves our efficiency a lot. We just focus on the private block network building for the rankings, and we're testing and finding conversions on our money sites, and basically just accumulating that library, that portfolio of landing pages that work great. Now, if that all sounds really churn and burn to you, and the more kind of white hat guys in SEO are always anti-churn and burn strategy, let's have a look at some supposedly not churn and burn companies, big, huge authority sites that have got massive slaps from Google as well. So if I jump over here to Qzx900 site, we can see that they've recently analysed. This is by no means exhaustive. I'm sure the list is a lot bigger than this. Recently, we've got Trivago, which is like a hotel booking company. And what I know about Trivago is I think like in the last year or two, they've spent a massive amount on TV advertising to try and get a foothold into the hotel booking market, and I think sort of travel in Europe generally. So I think it's well funded, very well funded. I'm not sure if it's a public company or whatever, Trivago, but a lot of money has been pumped in there. Around April 14th was this analysis here. They've lost 95% of their terms ranking on Google. William Hill is a massive player in British online betting. They also have a string of actual betting shops across the UK. Also hit pretty hard by Google. I mean, these are big companies, kind of authorities, definitely authorities in their niche. Volution, I'm not so sure about. Got a slap, protectyourbubble.com, I'm not sure about them. Let's have a look at who else down here. iPhone fixed sounds like a smaller one. Cheapo, Hugo Boss here. So we could think that someone like HugoBoss.com, you know, huge sort of branded authority in men's fashion and stuff. Here they got hit. So just by being a big authority site doesn't mean you're immune to a slap. And the whole thing about the zero content SEO and the inbuilt of that is penalty recovery. It's all about traffic recovery. So as I've suggested in the past, a future strategy could well be that you don't do any SEO on your company website, but you just build a lot of zero content SEO feeder sites to it, and if they get hit, if they get a slap, you just build more, which you're probably doing anyway to get to sort of soak up more long-tail returns as well. As part of this kind of big shift in SEO philosophy, excuse me, and even as I do it and say it, there is that little conditioned part of my brain that says, no, you can't do that. You've got to go back and make sure you do this, because if you don't do this, the next time Penguin rolls out, these sites will get hit. It's amazing how strong that conditioning is, but for my own projects, I'm not talking about client sites here at all. These are the things that I've actually just thrown out for the moment on SEO, and when there is the next Penguin update, if there is such a thing, because it could well be very resource heavy on Google to run Penguin. If it can do all the things that Google says it can do, as I've written about, that computer must be the size of the moon to be able to cope with that. So these are the things now that are actually discarded. I've just thrown them out of my SEO process because so far from what I'm seeing, they don't look necessary. So I've thrown out on-page optimization altogether. All these empty sites, what I've been used mainly is just like titled page. The page is just titled with the main keyword, and that's it. It's an empty post. That page, WordPress page, is set as the home page, and that's all the on-page optimization that is. That's kind of complete SEO heresy, as I say, but I can't ignore the rankings results on that. I'm also throwing out working on parasite pages because I don't need them and they're not under my control, but clients might like them. You know, I'm seeing so much penetration with these new empty domains and zero content SEO that I'd rather just have sites, these traffic feeders, under my control. Pressable links are out at the moment, and the thing that I used to like about them, or that I kind of still do, is that they do give you what I think are a lot of natural looking backlinks and a lot of no-follow backlinks and no PR backlinks as well. And in theory, that looks good for a natural looking backlink profile. And one of the things I haven't done on all of these zero content SEO sites, with very, very few exceptions, is to run additional 50 post runs, because I actually just wanted to see how long these sites could stick in the rankings with just that initial 50 post run that was just run on one day. So again, I'm throwing out the link velocity chapter of the SEO rulebook as well. So these sites had like 50 posts on one day and then nothing, and I just want to see how long those rankings can actually stick for. So the press release links are out. I'm saying no thanks to no follow links as well now. These are all do follow links from my private blog networks. And I'm also throwing out the need to spend time on unnecessary SEO steps, sites that struggle to ever rank, manual penalty removal, algorithmic penalty recovery, and waiting weeks or months or years for rankings on a site that's never ever going to rank. Because there is that inbuilt variation in Google that some sites just aren't going to rank, and we need to just discard those quickly and move on if that's our strategy. And the other thing that I'm not doing either is targeting small numbers of keywords per page. And I'll just, in the next page, I'll just show you an example from one of my sites here. I really hope I've removed all of the mentions of the domain name. I'll be in big trouble. So I don't know if you can see this very clearly, but actually let me just get my pen working here. So here, this is an SEMrush page, and this is a site that was reapplied. So it was a site that I had to move from a previous site that got hit, and I moved it to another site. And basically all of the content just got moved completely, and the old site was parked. So this site has, I think it's got about 70 pages indexed in Google, but most of these are coming from probably less than 15 to 20. If you can see up here in the top left, positions have got 2.4 thousand ranking positions on one website, and according to SEMrush, if I were to actually buy that through Google AdWords, that traffic cost for the month would be $54,000 that I've gotten just through private blog network links. And I think probably on all of those pages, the maximum number of links that any of them have would be something like 150, possibly 200, the absolute maximum, most 50s or 100 backlinks in total as well. So that site does not make $54,000 a month. It does make many thousands of dollars a month, but it doesn't make $54,000. And even assuming that SEMrush is wildly inaccurate, and let's say that it was only $20,000 or even $15,000 a month in ad cost, that would still exceed what that particular website brings in. So unless you're a real expert in AdWords and PPC, obviously it can cost a huge amount for a minimal return. So using the keyword strategy that I've discussed a lot elsewhere here, and varying my anchors a lot and doing good keyword research and looking for branded terms and related terms that normally are hidden in the Google Keyword Planner. This one here is ranking for almost 2,500 terms. You can see that. Okay, moving on. So just a quick caveat with a few of the test results, and I'm not going into every single test because a lot of the findings and conclusions here are just kind of the same through all the tests, so I don't need to bore you with page after page of test results. I'm not covering all current tests, it's just the most meaningful results covered here that can help you, and I do reveal the niches but not the actual sites, obviously, because I want to protect my private blog network sites. Okay, so this was a recent test. I talked about it last week in the previous webinar. So the idea here was to create a 5-pack. And what I mean by this term 5-pack and 10-pack, if you've missed it already, is, let's say, for example, to use a niche that I keep using as an example, in Save Marriage, a 5-pack would be 5 new domains that I buy and set up empty sites on, zero content SEO sites on. It's called a 5-pack because there are 5 sites. 10-pack would be 10 sites, just for testing purposes. So what I did here was I had a 5-pack of subdomains tested, and the reason we're doing this is to save money on new tests, zero content SEO domains to buy, because .com's around $9 plus supply. All on the same hosting account in the same location, but in fact I can and will do a different test where I locate the different subdomains in different hosting accounts around the world, or sorry, in the US. I'm trying to rank in the US. So apparently you just need to change the A record on your subdomains, and you can move them to other hosting accounts elsewhere. They don't have to be in the same location as your root domain. In this particular case, they were there. So we've got this 5-pack of subdomains, the same hosting location. They all have the same general root domain, completely new site, built from scratch, although there's not much in it. And what I did was I wanted to look at different niches. So I just picked out politics, parenting, romance, energy training, and trade, kind of trade qualification to be as diverse as I could in doing a quick test. So what happened was with these 5, they got the usual 50 PBN posts, but from different PBN sites. So still coming around to running and reporting. If you're using exactly the same 50 sites on these same ZCS test sites, just what's going to happen there. Getting there, there's just a lot going on here. So they have the usual 50 PBN posts from different PBN sites. So in total there you're looking at 250 PBN sites. And I know not everybody has access to that, but there are means of doing it. And that was run last Friday, so that was just a few days ago. So out of that 5, 3 domains basically have delivered nothing so far. And in fact, even up until last night, because I'm an impatient guy, 4 of the subdomains had delivered nothing. Politics one, I chose that one because I was targeting the name of a well-known British political figure, because I figured he actually would have a lot of links from really high authority sites like BBC and British newspapers and things like that, like really tough backlinks in theory to compete with. So in the politics one, funnily enough, there actually has been a little bit of movement on very weak terms. But in the emergency training subdomain, so bear in mind this has just had 3 days really, those links being in place. This is the results so far, so I know that's probably a bit pale, but hopefully you can see. I can grab my pen now. So some highlights we've got here. We've got this position 8 for a 4,400 term down here. We're just at the bottom of page 1 for 6,600 term there, and a couple of that bottom there as well. So they're kind of the highlights. But you can see there, I'm not sure what the exact count is, but probably like 20 plus page 1 rankings there. And I know some of them are pretty small, but there are a couple of good ones in there as well. Okay, turn that off. So just to recap there, out of the 5, 3 did nothing so far. Could change, let's see, over the next few days. Typically you'll notice that Yahoo and Bing always kind of behind on these early results with zero content SEO, but if they're going to rank in a couple of weeks, they tend to come up pretty well. For me, I've never seen that much impact from Yahoo or Bing traffic, so I don't bother with it. I don't target it specifically. There's an interesting phenomenon there. So this one is clearly the star, and you can imagine if I'd done all of these 5 sites for this emergency accident kind of training niche, and well, if I hadn't done it, if I just set up one of the other ones just a weaker, you know, it was just I just set up one site, built all this high quality content, did some link building to it, and it went absolutely nowhere. Then I'm stuck and don't know where to go. I've just wasted a whole lot of time. But you can see now in 2 to 3 days, clearly I have a winner here, and I can actually build out a site and add more links and go from there with those page 1 rankings. Okay, moving on. So another test that I discussed in the last webinar was kind of PR0 PBN. Technically it's not a PR0 PBN, it's just that we can't see the toolbar on PR because these are sites that are currently de-indexed in a good way, but we can still see citation flow and trust flow and also other metrics from the other non-Google tools as well. So basically, just to give you the context, what I did for testing purposes here was I acquired 50 .eu domains, and just as a quick side note, I've always struggled with .eu domains in terms of ranking them. I've just found them real buggers to rank. I don't know what it is. Just maybe it's me, but I just can't get those bloody things to move. Other domain extensions absolutely fine, but .eu domains just can be real buggers to get moving for me. So anyway, nonetheless, I persevered with this test. So I acquired these 50 .eu domains, and these are like the CNN hack style of domains. So they're domains that have good backlinks to them, but whoever owned them no longer owns them. They got de-indexed. They're available for sale, just like a normal buying a brand new domain. So I went and bought them, hosted them, set them up for WordPress, all the usual stuff, had a minimum citation flow and trust flow of 10 or higher for these 50 sites. So they were more de-indexed, but just remember there's good de-indexing and bad de-indexing. If a site just isn't being used, if a domain isn't being used, Google will eventually just drop it because it has no search value. But if you register it again and chuck up some content on it, it'll get re-indexed usually very, very quickly, unless it's got some appalling history or whatever. So these were hosted on 50 different IPs. It was actually done in an SEO hosting account and not an individual hosting sites in this particular case. And the way this was set up, this is going to be a slingshot type of roll-off runs to different test sites. And that was done, that PBM run was done on the 24th of April, which I think was last Thursday. What I will do is also, as I see kind of more results and this becomes more valid, this test, I'll publish the domain ages and citation flow and trust flow figures on Qzx900 Hacks. Obviously I won't publish the domain names, but I'll put all that other relevant information there as well. So the results are a bit inconclusive out of these. So I've run it now on, I think it's 8 sites, and the results so far are a bit inconclusive, but there was one really good result that I wanted to share. So it could well work, but I want to run a kind of identical test with .coms rather than .eu. And even though theoretically it shouldn't matter, I'd really like to test it more because that working that way to get H domains, can be super powerful, very, very good. So here we go with the best performer so far from that PR0 PBM. So this was a new page on an existing site, and the best result we've got here, if I come back to the magic pen, hopefully you can see that kind of clearly. So we've got page 1 here for an 8,000 a month search term, just off page 1, 11 there for 8,100, same position for this 720 here. And sort of like a lot of rankings hovering around, the very bottom of page 1, and quite a few on page 2 there, which is a pretty good result. So that was just taking those previously de-indexed domains and just turning them into a PBN. So not bad, but I haven't seen that kind of impact on the others in the test. So to me, kind of a 1 in 8 result, that seems a bit on the weak side, and I just want to do those .coms just to satisfy myself that that approach can actually work and does have some power there. Okay, moving on, not sure where. So this was actually one of the very earliest zero content SEO tests that I did, I think. So could be somewhere around there. One, if not the earliest, one of the earliest. So this was a car-related niche in the UK, and all it had were 50 links back in the 18th of March. So I think we're talking now 5 or 6 weeks, something like that. The rankings are still pretty good. We've slipped just off page 1 on some, and it's quite a competitive niche. So I think there where you can see the 49,500 ranking at position 12. Let me just grab my pen here. I'm pretty sure we had, we're in like the bottom half of page 1 there. Even that 2,900, the bottom of page 1 there is not too bad. And today we've actually just run, because this is a project I'm working on for a guy as well. We've just run another 50 posts added just to see now what happens to that, and obviously I'll report the results of that. Down here we can see we're at position 14 for 74,000 a month. So I think that's slipped down a few places, which was previously bottom of page 1, but still not bad actually, not too bad, and holding up pretty well. Okay, just moving on to another one quickly. So this is also a site that is replacing the Slack site. So here we've got the 5-pack going, 5 separate domains hosted in different places, and The weird thing on this result here is that it's all five have actually done pretty much identically. So the weird thing is the site being replaced here was kind of spoiled for choice. So the others will become feeders or built out or 301 as a kind of mini PPM. But here we actually got 5 out of 5 results from that zero content SEO site. The numbers are on the small side here, but this is actually very, very competitive niche. So this was the best performer of those 5. So again, that was back on April 3rd. Actually, that would be one of the earliest, wouldn't it? The earliest probably. So we're almost coming up. No, it's a bit later than we're talking about. So it's about 3.5 weeks or so. So we've got these. We've got this bottom of page 1 here, 4,500. That's really, that is actually the main term that I want to go for. That one there, that's the money one, blueprint one. So we're on page 1 there, just from those 50 posts there. So that's where the site is getting moved to right now. Okay, let's just erase that. Moving on. This is the coupon code superstar site for that 10-pack of zero content SEO sites that I tested on. So we can see here we were on page 2 for this million-term rank. This is a brand name like Macy's or Sears, something like that. Interestingly, I noticed in Microsite Masters that the rankings do go up and down quite a bit. It wouldn't surprise me if that bounced back tomorrow. But it was on page 2 for that, again, just from those 50 links, back on March 26th now. So we're over a month we've had those rankings. We can see here we're position 4 for 33,000 a month. Position 5 for 8,000 a month. Position 3 for 2,400, and we've got all these ones, 1,900, all page 1 here, page 1 here, page 1 here. So if you kind of missed earlier discussion of it, that was really done through choosing very carefully the anchors that were run on that particular PPM job, and all actually can be hugely powerful. Okay, let's have a quick look at a couple of the other that 10 packs. So this is kind of in a craft niche, and this one is going to get used for a YouTube test. So we're just going to 301 to a YouTube video that has been created, has been uploaded. Just got some done problem with name.com. Their 301s aren't working at the moment, and we have to follow up on that. But we can see here we've got position 4 for 2,900 a month search term, position 7 for 1,900, position 8 down here for 2,400. Quite a few, and again, quite a lot of good page 1 rankings. So 50 links back on March 26th for that one as well, of course, same time as the others. This is another one, it's an insurance sub-niche. Might have drifted a little bit now, this one, so we've got position 9 for 720 search term, and the other results there are less spectacular as well. On the whole, I mean, I didn't want to bore you with going through all 10 results. But on the whole, the ones that have ranked have more or less kept their rankings, give or take a few sort of minor drops and some very minor rises as well. But the ones that haven't ranked haven't moved either. So it's a pretty conclusive way of just ruling out, the losers straight off. Okay, moving on. Still quite a bit to get through. Hopefully I haven't lost you yet. Financial niche, sub-niche, this is a 5-pack here. We've got a couple of winners out of 5 and some doing not too badly on page 2. This is actually a pretty competitive niche as well, and if I go on to the next page you can see the links, 50 links out on April 11th as well. So this is the same finance site ranking for 27 positions according to SEM Russia's database, and we're on page 1 for a 74,000 search term, and that's actually a brand name of financial product, so quite a good one to rank for in my view. So again, just for those 50 links on that date, onto page 1 for that, you can see also page 1 for the 6,600, 1,300, and I think those are kind of the highlights. And that all up, if I were kind of paying for all the service that I used on this particular 5-pack, would cost me, I think, if you include the domains being bought, something like $350, $360 to run that test. And according to SEMrush, if I did that with paid traffic, it would cost me $7,400 to achieve the same result. So even if it's wildly inaccurate and it's half that, it's still kind of crazy money compared with doing it kind of zero content SEO style. Okay, moving on. So those are the main kind of big test results, and I want to talk now more importantly about what conclusions and insights we've kind of gained from that. Excuse me. So we know it's pretty conclusive, and other SEO Traffic Hacks members have reported this mostly, that it's working really well for them. We know it works at the money site end. What I've found is that for the PBN posting, it's better if you have some content in there. You tend to get those page 1 rankings, and I haven't yet seen that with empty posts at the PBN level. I'd love it to work as well, but it just doesn't seem to quite have the legs. So you do need that content, and we just use highly spun content, PBN posts. You do seem to need that to get those page 1 rankings. So just keep that in mind. Quite important. It could be we've been doing some testing. I'm a bit active in Italy. Bulgaria is quite close to Italy, and we've been doing some work on some Italian company stuff. It's a long story how the job came about, but it's more interesting to me from a testing point of view than acquiring another client. We have these zero content SEO sites hosted in Bulgaria, but they actually had .it Italian extensions, and the initial findings of that are that the Italian extension sites are ranking perfectly well in Italy, despite the fact that they're hosted in Bulgaria. Completely separate countries. So it may well be, and this is subject to a lot more testing, that just your domain extension, if it's country specific enough, like .co.uk or .fr or whatever, it could well be that might be enough of a geo-ranking signal, and you don't then need to muck around with trying to host it in the country where you want to rank, or tell Google in Google Webmaster Tools which country to rank for, because you don't want Google in there. Obviously, the more zero content SEO vehicles that you have, the better, because it gives you more chances to find those working landing page formulas. And this is what, in my experience, most internet marketers lack. They don't have these working landing page formulas. They're kind of still fumbling around in the dark, looking for them, even though, ironically, probably quite a few really good ones are already on the search, and they just need to be looked at and probably studied and analysed and researched. But there's nothing as strong as actually having your own traffic coming to your own sites to really quickly see what is and isn't working. So if you can, the more zero content SEO vehicles, the better. But you can get away with 5. A 5-pack could be perfectly fine, but if you can have more, that's better. Just to reiterate, you want to use these windows of rankings not just for traffic or sales, but for finding and adding working landing page formulas. So I'm sort of saying don't be complacent when you have that traffic. You have to maintain that research. This is what zero content SEO is actually about. What it gives you is landing page research data, the data. That's where the long-term dollars come in. Hopefully, in SEO Traffic Hacks, we have a huge emphasis on research. I'd like to do a lot more research, a lot more things I can think of doing, but you can already see how much value that can give you and how worthwhile it is. So a good way to think about zero content SEO is not just penalty recovery through traffic recovery or gaining extra traffic or whatever, but the really big money is in the landing page research, and when you find those winners, you can scale, roll them out to more sites, even add paid traffic or whatever. So think of it as a fantastic research platform for you as well. Okay, also monosilo is not necessary during testing. All I'm doing now is just one page. These are WordPress sites typically. So I don't use a post, I use a WordPress page with a keyword in the title. So, if I want to rank for Save Marriage, I just create a page called Save Marriage in WordPress, set that as the home page, delete the sample posts and pages. But Tony Gold, I know Tony is on the call today, has reported in the training that he doesn't even do that, and he's also having success, and I'm not revealing any secrets, I think, here, Tony, because you've already written about it in the training, is that he's having good results with local SEO, with the city in the domain name. So, if you're ranking for San Diego plumbers or whatever, having that word San Diego in your zero content SEO site, he's finding it can be a big plus. Personally, I haven't tested that. As I said, from that earlier result that we saw there, it's still kind of unclear if the subdomains can work. And a really important twist is that one of hosting them in different locations, because you're still saving money on the actual domain registration, and you probably already have a hosting account set up anyway, and you can just add another one there. Obviously, you can use SEMrush to show you how much that zero content traffic will cost in pay-per-click. Go with .coms, that's what I've got the best results with overall where you're testing. If a site gets hit with a slap, immediately counter with the zero content SEO winner or winners and move the site up the old one, like that one that was getting 2.4 thousand searches, different organic terms in the tech gadget example above. So if you get hit with a slap, you need to just kind of take it on the chin, but immediately bounce back and counter with a 5-pack or 10-pack of different zero content SEO sites. It's completely inevitable, if you have an active online business with multiple sites, that you're going to get, some of them, maybe many of them will get hit, but in the meantime, you're going to be gathering information, gathering data about what works, and you can bounce back almost immediately. And I think you saw with the that subdomain test, I think it was on the accident, emergency accident training kind of niche there, that links built on Friday and on the following Monday, page 1 rankings, and that's how quickly you can bounce back with this strategy. Okay, so just to recap and hopefully add clarity, and I'm going to find out in a minute when we get to questions if I've added any clarity today. Maybe I'll just add a lot more fog, I'm not sure. We know that PBNs on the whole work. Nothing works 100% of the time in SEO, but on the whole, private blog network links work really, really well. We also know that zero content SEO works really, really well, but we know that we're working up and around and evading that random rankings factor, and with these two things working together, what we have really is kind of the perfect random rankings factor counter strategy and sort of anti-slap strategy as well. And hardly anybody in SEO, I mean, even the super gurus writing everywhere, the big authority guys are not talking about this, they don't seem to get this. And I'm not bagging them out necessarily, but it seems to me that they're not doing testing, or the stuff they're doing just achieves the same thing in a different way with a hell of a lot more work, which I can't quite see the point of myself. So if you get these few little components, the PBN links, the zero content SEO, and how we're kind of working around that random rankings factor, you are already ahead of 99% of people trying to do SEO online, because you've got the clarity of that picture of how these elements, how these jigsaw pieces kind of fit together, and you can achieve spectacular results really, really quickly if you're using this. Okay, there's more. Just to quote that original market health article that I was talking about before, just to leave you with a few quick thoughts. And believe me, I struggle with all of these from the time point of view as much as anybody. Having a plan, it really boils down to discipline, organisation, tracking, and daily project management. And I know it's easy to get kind of tool fatigue because we all have so many bloody tools to manage our SEO and internet businesses. But I mean, in this case, they're talking about super affiliates, but we need to have that tracking, that organisation, daily project management, even on the simple level of having SEO diaries on Trello. So that you can track and look back and see what you did to which sites, on what date, and what was the result of that. Even something as simple as that, which is basically just kind of notepad stuff on the web, can give you a lot of useful information to go back and use again to compare with. The next thing is that super affiliates don't quit. They dump the underperforming products or sites. Excuse me, they assume that they're going to have bumps and hard times. We completely expect that the random's ranking factor is going to cause a bunch of failures in our SEO test. In fact, it's surprising when it doesn't kick in, as we saw on one or two of those results from before. But if we've got it kind of factored into our expectations, into our filters, it's completely normal. And what you tend to see with more kind of amateur guys in SEO forums or internet marketing forums is the kind of can't get a site to rank, or the site gets slapped or whatever, and obviously they're really upset about it, they're lost, they don't have any answers. But here inside SEO Traffic Hacks, we know and expect that to happen, and it's not the end of the world, and it's not time to get the tissues out because it's a completely normal part of doing business. We know immediately how to bounce back from that kind of thing, or to avoid it in the first place. Okay, the final thought here is that successful affiliates, they have a simple business model, they replicate their success. I think the key here is scale, and if you've got these proven kind of methods, everything I'm about is that I try to do in the training and outside it is step-by-step kind of stuff, so you can follow along each step and know what you need to do and why you need to do it. So once you find those things that work, especially landing pages that can sell, you just want to obviously scale and keep rolling it out, and we're testing and evaluating as well as we go. Is there more? That's it. So now we're on to some quick Q&A, guys. So if I've done my job today, hopefully I've given you more clarity. So let's see if I did. Let's have a look at questions during question time now. Okay, judging by the number of questions, maybe I didn't get the clarity I was aiming for. Okay, just to rewind back up to the top. Scott has asked how many domains. I'm not sure, Scott, which question that is. A few comments on audio, so I'm hoping it worked out okay because I'm working with a new, theoretically better microphone today, but could be a problem. Could be the space I'm actually recording in, quietest place in the office. Jeff asked what the random ranking factor is. Yes, and then he realised. Francis has asked, when you say that links roll off to an inner page are okay, how are you transferring link juice to those pages? Do you use dofollow, no index tags? We don't use any of that, and we just limit the number of the sidebar links is usually something like 5 to 10 on those, and once they move off out of that, because when you posts are being made, in theory they move to orphan pages, and that's how a lot of the bigger blog networks organize their sites. And the funny thing is, Francis, that in theory that should be a disaster, but in practice it actually works really well and it's not a problem. And I see that over and over again. Okay, audio down, I'll try to bump that up. Scott has also asked, when you're deploying so many WordPress sites, are you just using Fantastico to install? We've been playing around with a thing called wpdesktop.com, and if you have cPanel, there is a way that you can do bulk installations. I suggested to MainWP that they have a bulk WordPress install feature, which they don't have at the moment. They may consider adding in the future. I'll get my main tech guide to just detail step by step what you do in WP Desktop, but provided that your hosting account has cPanel, it's possible that you can do bulk installations, but at the moment, Scott, painfully, we're doing them one by one. What are we doing to make sure our WordPress site is not hacked easily? I'm pretty sure we're running Secure Scan Pro on those. I think that's the one we're using at the moment, but probably with the capture turned off on it. So we've got that running on them. Complicated passwords and getting around to renaming WordPress folders and things like that, what the guys do to secure those. Chris has asked, is this an appropriate time to talk more about what makes a higher converting site? Absolutely not, Chris. No, I'm joking. It's the next step. I think I covered it quite a lot in the previous webinar, which was about minimum content monetization. So if you go back through that one, Chris, I'm sure you're there for it anyway. I did cover quite a few ways of looking at monetization. Okay, and John has said it would be great to test building a nil PR, nil links PBN, totally virgin domains, themed and see if they pass any ranking power to the money site. Absolutely. If every link passes a little bit of juice, what about links from completely new domains that actually don't have any backlinks to speak of themselves? I've been thinking along the same lines, John, and definitely getting there on a test like that. Matt has asked, besides a certain network that shall remain nameless, it's a private one, what PBN networks are you using that deliver the best results? There are no private ones that I use, Matt, apart from that. The only public one I have used a lot, but I've stopped lately, is seslingshot.com. And in fact, I'm working on much bigger PBNs at the moment. So let's see. Jeff has asked, can high PR websites that have been slapped be used for a PBN? So if you mean rankings or PR, Jeff, if they still have some PR, in my view, they still have value. You know, if you're still seeing some toolbar PR, possibly metrics and the other tools, it probably still has value there. Francis, glad to help. More audio problems. Obviously, I need to go back to the other one. And for Matt, as a follow-up question, do you primarily use 50 posts or 100 for testing? I used to have a dangerous addiction to 100 post runs, Matt, but I've had a bit of counseling. I've got that down to 50 now. So when I do that, am I using 50 unique or 100 unique keywords or concentrating on a specific keyword? What I do is I have my main keyword as the title of the page on the zero content SEO site. So if I've got 5 sites or 10 sites that I want to test, all of them have a page as a home page with the same title, like Save Marriage if I want to rank for that. But the 50 anchors are very different. Save Marriage will be in there, but based on my research, I will have links like couples therapy, relationship counseling, things like that. And one of the reasons for that is that I want to access those other pools of keywords that are not necessarily immediately obvious, like if you just put Save Marriage in the Google Keyword tool, it actually hides a lot of terms from you. If you look at the webinar recording of how to rank one page for hundreds of terms, I go over this quite a lot. The Google Keyword Planner hides a lot of terms from you, and you've got to really dig a bit to get at those related good ones. So I think if you put save marriage, for example, into the Google Keyword Planner, it doesn't show you terms like couples therapy or relationship counselling, which are such obvious kind of no-brainer, great terms that you want to rank for as well. So the rest of the anchors, Matt, the way I'm doing it at the moment is they're all as different as possible, but they all have some either raw, good traffic numbers, or they give me access to that other relevant pool of keywords. So you can imagine if I put couples therapy into the Google Keyword Planner, that shows me a whole bunch of terms related to that, which are different if I put save marriage, which is also different to if I put relationship counselling. But you can see how they're all very relevant for that kind of save marriage niche. Do I stagger the 25 posts a week? I hit them all at once when I'm doing testing, so I hit them straight up with 50 posts. Jeff has clarified, yes, high PR websites that still have PR, just no rankings after the slap, still indexed. Yep, still will definitely have some value in my view, Jeff. And I think that might be the end of the questions, but I didn't get any indications of greater clarity today, so I have to check my notes and maybe do better next week. Guys, thank you for joining me for today's webinar, and as soon as the recording is available, which will probably be about 20 minutes, I'll have it up inside SEO Traffic Hacks, and I hope to see you on the next webinar. Thanks for coming today.